I did not mean to create a battle among my friends. January 24th, 2015. I apologize. I did not mean to create a battle among my friends. I have been on Facebook only in little spots today, as I spent the day with Lanny, Jen, and the twins, Jackson and Bentley, in Blackfalds. This has been the greatest amount of time I have had with the twins since they were born, so I took advantage of every minute, no second, of time that I could with them. I had a great time. To summarize, I did not want to go on a trip, even if my name was pulled out of the hat as Alberta's most loving person. In fact, before the draw was made, I called Cody Borick aside and informed him that if my name was drawn, that I would defer the trip to Constable Robert Hines, especially in light of the events that took place in St. Albert over this past week. Fortunately, my name was not drawn, so I didn't have to make anyone feel ill at ease. I believe that God had his hand in the draw yesterday, as Medina Reimer has performed a lot of wonderful acts of kindness, but she has encountered very sad times of late in the loss of her mother. I know she will enjoy the trip and forget some of her troubles, at least for a few days. On the really nice side, Aspen Ford also provided a free trip to Hawaii for Constable Robert Hines for the exact reason which I had outlined to Cody about events in St. Albert. Then, to further their act of kindness, Aspen Ford also awarded Cody and Eva Bork a trip to Hawaii for their act of kindness in giving their trip away in a manner which made millions of people aware of this gesture of pure love. Now, what many of you do not know about is that Aspen Ford also granted one more free trip to Hawaii to be auctioned off at a fundraiser for the family of the late Constable David Wynne. Go, Tim and the staff at Aspen Ford. You may ask, why doesn't John want to go on a trip? This is part of the reason. Number one, for our honeymoon in 1967, we went on a 3-month trip across Canada. Number two, in 1970, we took a 6-week trip down to the USA. Number 3, in 1972, we left on a 3-year trip which included 6 weeks in Hawaii on all the islands except Niihau, which you cannot enter without special permit, followed immediately by a further 7 weeks in Tahiti, Samoa, Western Samoa, Fiji, and on to New Zealand, where we taught school children for a partial year. Follow that with almost 3 years in Australia, teaching and taking advantage of every school holiday to travel the length and breadth of Australia, including 2 trips to the centre, where we climbed Ayers Rock not once but twice. We snorkeled on the beautiful coral reefs off Queensland. We rode camels. We almost died of heat fatigue during the daytime in the desert and almost froze in that same desert at night. When we left Australia in 1975, we had tickets to fly around the world for 1 year. Unfortunately, 6 weeks into the trip, we received a telegram to say that Marg's dad had cancer. Please come home. We did, and he died a few weeks later. Number 4, I taught in a Hutterite school, grades 1 through 8, and lived on the colony for 1 year. Marg joined me partway through the year. Number 5, we then purchased airline tickets to Europe in 1976 and backpacked right across Europe and Asia, taking local bus, truck, train, boat transport most of the way, ending up in Singapore. We flew to Australia and were offered teaching positions in northern Queensland, but it was so hot and humid we felt that we could not do a decent job and resigned before the school year started. 6. We took a 3-week ocean cruise home from Australia to Vancouver, crossing the international date line and therefore celebrating Valentine's Day twice in 1977, followed by a via train ride back to Calgary. 7. We taught in Manning, Alberta until June and moved to Knighton on August 16th, the day Elvis died. 8. We took Lanny and Leanne on a holiday camping trailer trip across Canada during the summer of 1989. 9. In November of 1989, I took a year off teaching and we took the family to Australia, back to California and Nevada for about 6 weeks. 10. In 1995, I rode my Honda to San Francisco and San Jose to attend a convention, while Marg and Lanny flew directly to Hawaii for 3 weeks. I joined them for 2 weeks prior to the convention in San Jose. 11. In 1997, for our 30th anniversary, we flew to the Bahamas for a week and stayed in a luxury hotel. 12. I retired from teaching in 1997 at age 52 and immediately left on a 1-month trip to Manitoba. I spent 1 month helping flood victims rebuild from the flood of the century. 13. When I started my satellite business in 1997, it started slowly. Then Lanny joined me in 1998, and within a couple of years, we qualified twice as top sales dealers in Western Canada and qualified for all paid vacations to Bahamas and Dominican Republic. 14. In the years after that, Lanny and I attended several electronics conventions in Las Vegas during January each year. So, do you have some idea now why I wanted someone else to win the trip? Possibly someone who had never been out of Canada. And also why I asked my Facebook friends not to raise money for a trip. As I said earlier, I did agree to accept any monies donated only on the understanding that I would use it to help people in need. Also, I was contacted late this afternoon by one of my Facebook friends who tossed a different idea in my direction as a way for people to be able to show their appreciation for my acts of kindness, and I responded that I can handle this suggestion. You'll have to wait for an official announcement from whomever will be organizing the idea. It's the Pay It Forward picnic, and it happened on May 23rd in Knighton. Addendum. I caved on the idea of accepting a trip. I was offered an all-expenses-paid trip by one of my former students, James Phillips. He told me that he just wanted to show his gratitude for our years of ideas shared. So I broke down and accepted his offer of a flight on his airplane to Jasper and back one day when the air is stable, and I won't have to fill his barf bag. You see, James offered me this trip previously, but I declined because I get airsick very easily. Always have, even as a baby. My mom told me I got car sick. Perhaps that is the one reason I was so happy when Dad traded our car for a tractor. After that, riding in the wagon box at a maximum speed of 12 miles an hour when wide open, I never got travel sick. Thanks, Yana Phillips and James. Again, I apologize. I did not intend to hurt anyone's feelings. I appreciate that so many people wanted to collect money and send Marg and me on a trip. I just could not justify the time to explain my position today while I was spending valuable time with Lanny, Jen, Jackson, and Bentley. I hope you understand. I love you all and appreciate every kind gesture you all offered. Follow-up comments I made to explain my choices. Vern, I have to disagree with you. The offer of this trip was heaven-inspired. The way it went viral meant that virtually millions of people have seen this possibility, and a few have followed in Cody Bork and Evelina Ruth Bork's footsteps. Someone in San Francisco saw the news item on the news and is offering a similar trip. My new friend, Sharon Hayes Williamson, saw the news clip, and she and her husband are offering a weekend stay in a luxury hotel in Niagara Falls to the kindest person in Ontario. I know the Bible tells us we are to do kind deeds in secret, but our world hears far too much about all the bad news, and this depresses many people. The time has come for us to demand more good news on TV and in social media, like Facebook. Those who post stories about how horrid their life is may get some attention, but I must say positive stories are uplifting and help people see the potential for making this a better world for our kids and grandkids. As a result, they will go out and do things to make this a kinder, gentler, and better world. Isn't that what we all want for our children and grandchildren? That's what I want for my grandkids. Eileen, we always believed that a smile would get us further than anything else. Even when we were in countries where we could not speak the local language, we found that a smile would open opportunities that many might never experience. We have had complete strangers vacate their master bedroom in Tahiti, as humble as it was, for us to have a good night's rest while they slept on the floor. In Iran, a whole group of us were sitting on the ground, waiting for the local bus to take us to our next destination. Even though we could not speak the local language, I learned how to count to 10. So when the locals started asking us questions which we didn't understand, we smiled and I counted from 1 to 10. Before long, we were all assembled into a large circle. Someone opened their thermos, poured us some chai, some food was shared, and we all smiled as they chatted away in Persian, and the time quickly passed. In Hawaii, we came across a very young couple who were doing the same as us, backpacking and sleeping on the beaches. We found out that the young lady had been very sick. They had no money to go to the local hospital for her to get a checkup, so we helped out. After the visit to the hospital, the doctor advised complete rest for an extended period, along with prescription meds. We purchased her meds. She was from San Francisco, if memory serves, since it was 43 years ago. So we bought her a plane ticket home and took her to the airport and made sure she got on the plane. Whatever we have done to help others has come back to us many times over. I don't mean money-wise, but more in respect to good health, a perfect place to raise our family, and all that we need to live a comfortable life. Who could ask for anything more?